Hello everyone, and welcome along to your immediate post-match reaction to Rangers 0, Celtic 0 here at Ibrox, first Old Firm game of the season. I've been joined here by Iain Mitchell. Iain, how are you feeling after?
Disappointed, I think, is the kind of obvious feeling. I think that was a real missed opportunity today. Like I said during the game there, that's one of the poorest Celtic teams that I've seen at Ibrox over the years. Both in terms of individuals playing and how they played, and we couldn't really lay a glove on them at the end of the day. I know we had an offside goal and a penalty shout, but that second half, we're sitting there struggling to work out what happened, as in any highlights, anything to talk about kind of thing. And given the situation that this club's in just now, I'd have thought that was your opening to let's get the fans back on side, let's get things ticking again, and we've just not done that.
Yeah, it felt like two teams that were a bit battered and bruised from what happened during the week, but I guess we were coming here expecting the worst, fearing the worst, potentially. Yeah. I think I've seen people predict scores of 4 or 5, 6-0 to Celtic today, and in the back of our minds, I guess you were always fearful that the same mistakes would be coming forward from it. You were fearful that the same mistakes would be happening, and that Celtic would be of high enough quality team to take those if we gifted them it. It was a different setup.
It was
today from Rangers. Much more familiar to us. Felt it was much more structured. The team felt like they knew exactly what they were doing compared to a lot of games this season so far. Maybe all the games so far this season where it didn't feel that way. What did you make of that change? That decision to be more pragmatic. I mean, we've just came out of Russell Martin's post-match press conference, which was interesting. We'll come to various points from that. But what did you make of that decision to be more pragmatic and we'll say realistic with the approach?
It was probably a good sign, I think, because we've all said that this style, this system isn't working. A number of reasons, but we're just not creating chances. We're not good enough at the back, so something had to change. And I think it was quite key that Russell Martin's went away from what he obviously knows, because that was the whole point of him coming in. Like, he sticks to a system, and that's it. There's no plan B. It's like Warburton from back in the day, but he has obviously thought, right, this doesn't suit what we need today, at least. And I think the first maybe 25, 30 minutes, maybe, we were on top of them, a good pressing system. It was a good shape. But like you said, people sort of knew where to go. So if one player moved off the wing, somebody would fill in, and it just looked a bit more structured, is the best way to put it. Just overall, I don't know. It still didn't quite hit what I wanted to do going forward anyway, at least at the back, if you're a bit better. But
what did you make of this comment from that works? There we go. How did you make this comment from Luke Gibson? I think Martin played that too safe to save himself any embarrassment in front of the owners. I think he had to play it safe.
Yeah.
I think maybe not safe from in terms of not creating any real clear-cut chances side of things, but I felt he had to change his approach.
Yeah, I don't know if it was safer today, because in the basic sense, you went from having 3 guys in midfield to 2 in there and 1 trying to help the striker a bit more. So at least formation-wise, it's not as safe. And then on the other angle, I get the safety aspect because we're not playing out from the back every time, but there was still quite a lot of that in there. Like, there were still moments where I was getting ready to look away when it was Jigger sort of dallying the ball. Or Suter was good today, to be fair. I'm not going to bash him in any way, but Butland's leaving it a bit late to kick up the pitch. But we definitely went a lot more direct than usual, and it was working. Like, it was getting the ball to Moore or Gassama in decent areas. It just then didn't maybe have the support they needed, or they weren't brave enough to drive at their fullbacks on either side. And I think that was what was disappointing me the most. That when we did get, as rare as it was, when we did get into those decent positions, it was always a bit indecisive and sort of, will I go that way, will I go this way? There's never any direct, I'm going kind of thing. And the one time we did that is when Gassama ran at Tierney, got past him and squared it. Is it Scales just sort of deflected it into Schmeichel's arms? It was the one threatening attack I thought we had. So just needed more of that and didn't get it.
Yeah, what did you start lineup wise? Maybe a few surprises in there. Connor Barron was one. I thought he had an excellent game. We saw Diomande come in. Asgard kept his place. Joe Rothwell dropped out, which I thought was interesting. We also saw Ant-Man drop out and Mikey Moore come in on the left-hand side, as well as James Tavernier on the right. So a few changes in there. Obviously, that's probably to suit the system better, but Russell Martin was very complimentary of the performances of all 3 of those that came in terms of Connor Barron, Diomande and James Tavernier because they've been left out of matches
Yes.
recently, and he said they had every right to be annoyed or upset with them. So, what did you make of their performances? And I think in particular Barron and Diomande, because I thought they were both tremendous.
They're both they put in a lot of work. They both were like struggling towards the end, just how much running they had to do, and that's the thing you're considering, the fact they've not played too much. Like Diomande started the season and then got taken out. That's Barron's first start of the season, I think, since that Middlesbrough friendly. So, that's a tough shift for him, tough day. And the thing with Barron for me is that off the ball, I know he'll run all day, he'll hustle into tackles, he'll try and keep things ticking along, but he's not always been the best passer. But his passing today was really good for me. He's got a few times he's chipped it over the top, good few through balls. I thought he did tire quite quick, but that's absolutely natural given how little football he has been playing. So, he's probably my man of the match. I think it went to Diomande. I think it could have easily been either of those two. And likewise, a quick line and Tav was pretty solid at the back. Again, there was no issues. Even when Maeda came to left wing, we both had a sort of look at each other going, how's this going to go? But again, he was solid enough. Just maybe not enough going forward from him, but that's can be said for the whole team. Yeah,
a few comments bringing up the fact that we had 0 shots on target today, 40% possession. Interestingly, the possession side of things, in a lot of games, it feels like we don't have the most amount of possession, and then we look at the stats and it's like 55-60% possession we have today. I thought, particularly for the first half, maybe the first 60 minutes, that we dominated.
Yeah, that's surprising. If it's 40, I'd have thought it was a very even one. Like Celtic are very good at just kind of holding the ball, and there was times
they were trying to take sting out
exactly that. Towards the end of the first half, and then a good bit of the second half, they were just trying to calm things down, as any away team should be doing. That's probably where that stats drived up from. But the no shots thing, like Schmeichel's had nothing to do all game, and given the confidence levels of that whole team, given the debutants they're playing, they're missing a few key men, especially at the back. And then that's just what's the overall disappointment for me, is that we've not really tried to lay a glove on them, let alone laying the glove on them, sort of thing.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Try and cover the main points of the game, but a few questions coming. Will Russell Martin still be in a job? We will come to that question, that answer, or our thoughts on that question later on. Barron did come in alongside Diomande, and Nico Raskin dropped out. There's been a lot of noise about Nico Raskin. A lot of support in the stands for him today from supporters. There was a couple of renditions of Nico Raskin's song throughout the game. What do you make of the whole Nico Raskin situation? A lot of fans seem to have sided with the player rather than the manager. I don't think I'm quite of that same view. What's your opinion?
Yeah, it takes a brave man to say that, doesn't it? There's definitely been something there. We'll never understand the full story of what's going on there, but it's a really tricky one, because midweek there I'd have played Raskin regardless of the situation, but when he did come out of that game, and then obviously what's happened since with his dad's comments, and then obviously you imagine there's been some extra comments given the fact he's had to turn to Raskin during that game, the relationship's gone. Like, if Russell Martin is staying, which again, spoiler, I think he is, Raskin cannot stay here from the looks of it. There would need to be a massive turnaround, because that relationship's absolutely gone between the two of them. I'm sort of leaning towards yourself. I think there's no obvious reason why Russell Martin would take him out, especially the fact he's not played Rothwell today. I said that to you when we got the team lines. It's one thing like backing Rothwell in certain games, but the fact he's not been playing very well, Martin's obviously noted that, and then brought Conor Barron in from absolutely nowhere. You would, if it has been like an argument or a slight hiccup in their relationship, you would just say to Raskin, right, give me what you got today, we'll go again next week. For him to not even be in a squad so obviously, that one's done for me. And I think the best thing for everyone to do just now is probably move Raskin on while he's got some value, because the longer that tunnels on, there's no point having Raskin sitting here for 6 months not kicking a ball. As painful as it would be, because he's probably still my favourite player at the club, you'd probably need to sell and reinvest in someone else to complement Rothwell or Barron, because I don't think either of them are going to be the long-term solution in there.
Yeah, I think in terms of Nico Raskin, I think it's interesting as well, because I feel like as we came into this summer, we expected Igaman to go, and we probably expected Raskin to go as well. So maybe the manner in which Raskin is going to leave isn't quite, maybe that's what's rubbing people up the wrong way a bit. But there's also a point where if you're the manager of a football club and there's a player that's maybe throwing their toys out the pram, or there's a player that's maybe being a disruptor, from that perspective, we know from what Barry Ferguson's told us, we know from stories inside in the club that Nico Raskin does challenge managers, and he's not scared to put his his thoughts forward. He's not scared to be noisy about that. And I think that's a very fine line for a player to walk. Where you're in the constructive side of things to where you're just causing too much problems.
See, especially when you've considered there's so many new guys coming in here. Like that's what 8 or 9 guys starting today. First Old Firm game, only in the club, a matter of weeks, months, days. In the matter of Majowski, you're trying to show a culture and build. Like we're all together as a unity here, and if you've got a troublemaker, whether that's Raskin, Igaman, whoever has been at it the last few weeks, you probably do just need to come to that point where you're like, right, I can't continue with you. I've got to cut you out. And as much as we don't like that as fans, and we're all massive Raskin fans, well, saw what he done times last season. He was really strong. I'm pretty sure Raskin done something similar to this when he was leaving Standard Liège to come here. There's always been a kind of maybe an attitude issue in there. And don't get me wrong, if we thought he was going to leave this summer, he probably thought he was going to leave this summer. And you can't just make club bids for you. So, yeah, I think that one, hopefully by tomorrow, gets resolved because it can't continue like this. There's no point.
It'll be interesting what happens over the next 24, 36 hours or so, because if it doesn't get resolved, where does that leave us then? Where does that leave everything then? As you see Billy Dodds behind us there.
Join my Billy Dodds there.
But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what happens over the next half, sort of, 24 hours, 36 hours, and see where do you think he's going to end up. Will seems to be the one where we're chatting.
Well, I'm pretty sure he put on a photo of himself watching the game, so I don't see him en route anywhere suddenly. So like I said, we just need to come to some kind of agreement. You can see it being one of those like loans with an option, which is a bit of a nightmare considering it's a guy with 2 years left of his contract. At this point, we should have been selling, but yeah, regardless of what happens, we're probably not going to get the amount we should have got for him after all this has been played out so publicly. So annoying, but like I say, just cut the tie at this point and get what we can.
Back to today's game, what did you make of Bojanioski today? He straight in the starting lineup after signing yesterday. I was quite impressed by him. He offered much more leading the line than we've seen in previous games with our strikers, whether it's Danilo, Dessers, etc. So, what did you make of him today, and are you excited about his signing?
I think I am. Yeah, I mean, he had nothing to work with today at all. Like, no service, no balls in the box, nothing. And there was that one chance that we saw that the ball was kind of coming over his head, and we all thought, it's his moment, and he's tried to lay it off. And like I said, if that comes off, you're thinking, oh, what a genius, that was a great touch. So, tricky conditions for him, tricky game to start, obviously against Celtic. There's moments where the connections weren't quite there, which is obviously going to happen, like, very natural. But I thought he done well. He just offers more of a threat, at least, than Danilo does. He's kind of put himself about. He's a handful. And I think he'll be a very good signing once he settles down. And again, international breaks are a nightmare here, but at least it's 2 weeks now. They can build those relationships. Everyone in the door will be staying in the door, kind of thing, and you can work on things properly, which is what Russell Martin's been trying to excuse himself towards the last few weeks now. So
how much of an acceptable excuse is that for you? How much of it is like, because when Rangers tweeted about Bojanioski's arrival yesterday, it was made clear it was the 11th signing so far this window, which is a lot of turnover. We've had probably not as many go out as we'd hoped so far, but number will be added to over the next day or so. What do you make of that as a reason in terms of the unsettled squad? Lots of players looking at moves away, or like rumours of moves away, rumours of bids, etc. Seen a suggestion from Greek media just before we came live here that Cyril Dessers is a bid's been accepted by Panathinaikos for Cyril Dessers. So it'll be interesting to see how that develops over the next wee while. But it seems that Cyril Dessers is the only one that's been able to keep being professional, for want of a better word, and keep his eye on the game and everything that's going on. Others seem to have been distracted. What do you make of it? Apologies as well, just before we jump in. If there's some internet issues, it's not us, it's Rangers internet. So, but we'll hopefully the sound's still coming through for everyone. But yeah, Iain, back to that. What's your view?
It's probably quite fair, and it's a very easy excuse. But it's a lot of turnover, it's a lot of change, and from going from the squad that we had last year and how they've been playing for years now to this, again, if I say a style of football, people jump on me for saying we don't play a style, and I get that. But to work towards something, you have to have 100% buy-in from everyone involved. And if you've got, for example, a Nico Raskin who's got one eye out the door, if you get Igaman who doesn't think his future lies here, there's probably 3-4, like Bayrami, Cortez, all these guys who are not even in the starting lineups. these guys will have an effect on the overall squad, just for their mood, their attitudes, their application and training. And if you've not got guys that are 100% at it every day, that's just going to end up in poor performances, poor. Like, you want guys to come into their work and be excited and be happy, and it's very modern football. You want a happy dressing room, but it's going to help everyone, and it just takes that noise away a little bit if you're not hearing those rumours of you're leaving, are you leaving, are you staying, are you travelling, all these things that Russell Martin could absolutely do without. And yes, it's an easy cop out, but it is factual for me.
Yeah, what do you? Let's go back to today's game. There wasn't a great deal to talk about. Like, main talking points, I guess, were the penalty decision with Miovski, and then the disallowed goal with John Souttar. What did you make of both incidents? And were obviously gutted by the disallowed goal.
Yeah.
But the pick up the penalty first of all. What did you make of that?
In real time, I thought it was an absolute obvious penalty.
Yep. In real time.
Obviously, we've only seen it back at half time. A couple of replays. It probably is on the softer side, but
I think if the referee gives it,
yes,
he's
exactly.
not changing his mind.
Because the elbow in the back, again, any striker's waiting for that. It's probably good striker play if he wins that penalty, don't get me wrong, because he's waiting for the contact. He gets the contact and then goes down. Also, there's the leg across him, which I don't know if that's on his way down already, but I would have just thought one that is that contentious, the referee goes for a look. And by all means, we don't know what the VAR have said. If they said, nah, it's soft, move on, I want the game to go on quicker, so that's fine. But yeah, I just, it's always something in this fixture, isn't it? It's always a moment that goes against us. The offside is just offside, obviously, there's no debating in there, but we were offside from that same free kick 2 or 3 times today, and it's Souttar's your main guy you're going to aim the header at. You're going to aim the ball for his head because he can be brave and get his head on like that. The least you want from him is just stay onside. And he does this thing where he starts offside and jumps back on, but it just annoys me because that's not getting the run on anything. So I don't see the purpose to that. And then, like I said, we got caught offside 5-10 minutes before that happens. And then, of course, it's offside when we've all sat celebrating for a minute. So annoying, but nothing you can do about that one.
Yeah. Outside of that, there wasn't really much to talk about from the game itself. How frustrated were you by the fact that it felt like Celtic were there for the taking? The fact that Celtic aren't up to much at all. This was a real chance to right the wrongs, I guess, that have been done in the first 3 games of the season. It felt like, well, you win today, you're back to 3 points. You've got an international break. You're in back to a settled squad. Hopefully things would turn around and be better. How disappointing was it, I guess, that we didn't take?
It hurts because for me, this was a must-win. Not only for Russell Martin, the squad, but for us as fans, we need something just to kind of perk us up a little bit. And 3 points is absolutely fixable. There's a long way to go. 6 points is probably still fixable as well. Obviously, like we're saying, it's not the greatest Celtic side we've ever seen here, but just for every sub they were making, I just felt they were getting weaker every time and bringing on guys that shouldn't really have had much of an impact, and yet they started to look better with every sub. And yet, pre-game, I'm looking at our bench going, okay, I don't love the players on there, but there's options, there's replacements, there's guys that have played in this fixture before and done well in this fixture. You know, think of Bayrami's best performances have been in Old Firms. Dessers has scored in Old Firms. Ant-Man's obviously not played one before, but I thought he'd have started, so bringing him on, you expect that little rise, and it just doesn't come. And I tweeted out myself, it's probably the worst Celtic team that I've seen play here, and we've not got a shot on target. Like that's quite a bold statement. Like that's not inspiring, is it? We
didn't really look like we were getting a shot on target either. One of the things that became increasingly frustrating as they went through was the number of crosses that we were putting in to the box, the number of opportunities we had, corners, free kicks, etc. We didn't win a single header. We just didn't win a single one of them. What did you make of it, and what did you like? How do we?
Yeah, it's very.
How do we improve that? Because Celtic aren't a big team.
No.
So how are we? Short of sticking Manny Fernandez up front constantly, even the long throws that James Tavernier's put in, how are we not making the most of those, or at least getting a couple of shots away at goal from those?
We've needed a set piece coach at this club for so long, and yet we just don't seem to be addressing that. And it's very woke, it's very modern football, bringing that set piece coach in, but we're so bad at them. It's just a case of lump the ball in and hope we get it, and the crossing in really beats the first man. There's 2 or 3 times Maeda has headed the ball clear in and around the 6-yard box. Put Souttar on that, and it should be a goal every time. Jiga's tall, Asgard's a big guy, Diomande wins headers. We've got decent headers of the ball there, but if you don't put the service in there properly, you're not going to score goals. And I'd lost count. Maybe 7 or 8 corners we've had today, 3 or 4 free kicks on that one side, and the only one we actually get the connection to is the one that's offside. Like it's just so typical,
Yeah.
and just very basic. But I've just like to see a bit more variation and just something a bit different, because once you've had 7 or 8 corners of the same thing, you get to a point you're like, well, I know we're not going to score this, and then it goes straight into Schmeichel's hands 2 or 3 times. So really poor, and just when it's a game as tight as this, and it could have been decided by a set piece, that was our chance for me to strike, and we didn't do it.
Yeah. What did you try to work out? Talk about transfers or Russell Martin. First, let's talk about transfers. Yusuf Chermiti was one that Russell Martin was asked as he was walking out the door at the press conference, is he a player that you are interested in? And Russell Martin said very interested. So it feels like that deal is on. Must be pretty close to being done. Derek Cornelius, the left-sided centre half from Marseille, looks to be quite far down the line. I think we badly need a left-sided centre half. It'd be interesting if it's Suter or Jigga that drops out. I would kind of want Suter to drop out, if I'm honest. But maybe Jigga isn't as good as we probably first thought he was. So what do you make of those two? First of all, we've also been linked with a striker from Reims. I want to say.
Yeah. I forgot his name.
So Diakite is his name. I think so. 2 strikers and a left-sided centre half. Is that enough for us?
No, quite frankly. We need to replace Raskin if he is going out, which it looks like it. Likewise, we need a backup left back, because Makoma is doing all right.
I think he did well today.
He was fine again today. He was decent.
Once he figured out that he could actually have a go at the defender.
Yeah, it took a bit of time to realise that you're faster than them. Run past them. That was fine. But if he does get an injury just now, then what you're bringing in an out of confidence Aaron's at left back again, which is a nightmare. So can't have that. So we need a left back. Cornelius, profile-wise, looks good. He's obviously won titles, which is nice. He's coming from a good league. The fee seems pretty reasonable as well. It's 3 million or so. So again, I like that one.
Yeah.
I don't think Jigga comes up here without being promised first-team football. I think that's the whole point of him being here. And don't get me wrong, I know he can't confirm it's someone you'll play every week, but I think he would be the starting right-side centre-back. Again, I think Suter was great today and certainly our best defender, but we know he's got that issue on him. He's got that mistake. At least Jigga can show that potential to get better. And there's still a few bits more.
Kenny McLean was another that's been mentioned.
Yeah.
Seemed to have the same scouting system and shortlist as Wrexham these days. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it seems to be a lot of players that we're linked with Wrexham we're linked with as well. Kenny McLean is rumoured to be of interest. How would you feel about Kenny McLean? Would you? I think he would be a solid.
It's not the most glamorous.
No.
But I can't sit and say we need leadership. We need guys that can help the spine of the team. We need people who know Rangers and understand the league. He ticks most boxes you'd want.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's 34, I want to say. He's certainly mid-30s anyway. So I wouldn't want to be paying like big fees, big wages on him. But if it was like a year or two contract, I think we could do worse. But it's just not the exact type of profile you want. I don't know. I kind of go 50-50 with McLean. If it was, you think about it as a guy that can cover a couple of the positions as well, it is an okay signing. But then I don't want to be sitting relying on Kenny McLean to play every week, kind of thing. No. And then obviously I kind of brushed past the Chermiti one fully.
I was keen to expand on that one. £8 million going up to £10 million is the rumoured fee. A player that's I think only ever scored 6 professional football goals, if I'm right. None of them at Everton. Kevin Thelwell signed him when he was at Everton. Sign him again when he's here. He must see something in him. £8 million coming here though. You're not a development player. You should be fighting to start every week. And I'm actually quite surprised that Miovski isn't seen as that starter. I guess 2 different types of strikers. Chermiti's more gives you that height and that physicality.
Powerful forward,
Miovski can also do the running in behind. So maybe that's how they're looking at it. But it feels that we're paying £8 million because we're shopping in the wrong market.
Yes.
It feels like we're paying £8 million because, well, that's cheap for any footballer from England, and we're paying £8 million because Everton paid 16 for him, so they're getting a discount. Whereas £8 million for us is a lot of money. So did you feel like we're shopping in the wrong market? And whereas if you go to Holland, you go to Denmark, a Sweden, a Czech Republic, and you buy a striker, what you get for £8 million would be very different for what you get for £8 million from England.
Yeah. For me, if you're paying that kind of money, you're bringing a guy in to be your main man, regardless of where he plays in the pitch. For me, it's very much we've sold Agaman for 10 million, and I think the board and Thirlwell have just thought, the fans won't like that. We need to replace with similar profile so we can spend about that much. And I mean, I've never seen the guy play properly. I've seen a couple of YouTube clips. He looks like he had potential, hence why Everton then paid the money. But he's barely kicked a ball last season.
Yeah.
One before that, he's been in and out. And I think Everton's a very difficult team to compare with us because, their last few years have been relegation threatened. No strikers went there and scored a lot of goals. That Beto that plays for them was a goal scorer at Udinese, then doesn't really score much there. Calvert-Lewin's had his troubles last year. So it's a hard team to play for, but I just don't think £8 million for us should be buying a guy that I don't know if he starts games or not.
Yeah.
It's just, that's like I say, if you bought in an Igaman for 1 or 2 million, an Igaman type, for a couple of million from an exotic league or Scandinavia, something like that, give them room to grow, then try and flip them for a profit, that's what I'd be aiming it for. And regardless, we don't create chances for our strikers right now, so surely if you've got £8 million to play with, I tweeted out that I thought Seema and Cherny would have probably cost you about £8 million combined. That gets you goals, chances, blah, blah, blah. There's more types like that. And I'm not writing any guy off before he kicked the ball here. Absolutely not. But Trimity has to come here and hit the ground running instantly to try and justify that fee.
I think there's a couple of comments coming in. William says, there you go, nobody's seen him play. No wonder players don't settle at our club. And then you've got...
that's the point, but surely if you're paying £8 million as a club like Rangers, who, yes, we'll get investment just now, but it's not as if we've got money to splash in every position. If we're all thinking Majovski's a decent option, of course you need a backup for him, but if you're paying £8 million, I want that to be my main man.
Yeah. I
want you to come in and be scoring 25 goals a season, and Trimity's record, and injury record especially, doesn't give me confidence he'll do that. And I'd love to sit here and be wrong in 6 months' time when he's top goal scorer and been bagging them in every week. I will happily eat my humble pie over that, but I have doubts just now that's the right market, as you said.
Yeah, I think that's very fair. Right, we're approaching half-hour mark. Just finally, Iain, Russell Martin spoke to the owners this week, and they've given him more confidence than ever that they have that he has their backing. He said that Andrew Kavanagh came in and spoke to the players and the squad yesterday about the vision of everything that they're trying to do and starting to try to build. We're only 90 days in, is what he said, wasn't it? To that. And he said that the players left that room feeling a lot lighter and like a lot of pressure had been taken off them. What did you make of that revelation, I guess? And what do you make of it's clear he's not going anywhere.
No.
But how does that then marry up with the sort of fans that he's the reaction of fans, the reaction of we've seen on social media, the reaction in the media we've seen? How does that all marry up?
Yeah, I mean, I came in this game today saying we had to win or else Russell Martin should be sacked. We haven't won. So that's one angle to go down. But from listening to him speak there, I don't think he's going anywhere. I think the owners have bought into, we know it's going to be a struggle. We know there'll be pain. By all means, there's a lot more pain than I think any of us thought there would be at this early stage. But we're going to have to sort of accept the fact he's going to be here. And he said it best himself, to be fair. He said the only way that noise goes away is by winning football matches. It's very obvious, but he has to now start winning football matches. You've got 2 weeks now with a closed transfer window. There's been no Rangers games. You've got time to implement whatever it is you're trying to do here. And there can simply be no more excuses. Like, I can see the comments. I can see my Twitter. I can see everyone online going mad about the fact that he is still here and he's not going to get sacked. And that noise will not go away. It's even at a point now where you get a few wins and then a loss. The noise probably restarts again. So it has to be a long-term winning strategy. And if you're asking me if I see that happening, I don't right now. I don't see us creating the chances to put teams away. I don't see us playing that high-pressing, aggressive, positive football. I just don't see it in front of me at all this season. We now need to see it. I don't know what it's going to take for that conversation to fully go away, to be honest, until we win something here.
Yeah.
He said it himself there as well. He said how there was noise on day one when he got the job, and that's facts. Like, people didn't want him here, and it's then been like doubling down on that, which you have to understand. Really, it's not been good enough at all. But we need to get comfortable with the fact he's not going anywhere right now.
Yeah, is it? How do you feel like a win today would have lifted that pressure a little bit in terms of almost transferred over to Celtic on the other side of the city?
That's the big
sort
thing
of pressure. Do you think that we're almost just a goal away from that being the case, and actually that's a really fine line for us to run?
Yeah, and I think I said in the podcast last week that he does have excuses just now with the Egaman and Raskin situation. He's maybe not quite been back with the right targets, because Russell Martin doesn't sign players. I think some people don't seem to grasp that. He's the head coach. He gets players bought for him. Like, he'll have a say, he'll have an input. Of course he will. Of course he will. But I don't think he would ever have the final say. Maybe he's like encouraged us to sign certain players. Rothwell and Aarons is the obvious ones, but he has to be given a better hand to work with, I think, by Kevin Thirlwell and such. And if that's an £8 million striker, maybe that helps. Like I say, we still need a left back. We need Cornelius or someone of that profile to come in as well. Serenaded there. But yeah, he has some excuses just now. But after this next 2 weeks, the excuses are gone. It's done. So we need to win games.
Yeah, I think it'll be really interesting. I mean, they've got an international break now. And so it's going to be 2 weeks till we see Rangers again. Next game is Hearts, I believe, here at Ibrox, and then followed by Hibs here at Ibrox in the League Cup.
A couple of easy wins there.
Just a couple of easy wins, yeah. I think it'll be really interesting to see if the international break makes any difference at all in terms of amount of time they've got for players, in terms of the approach, in terms of the speed of the play. I still think we're really slow in possession, so it'll be really interesting as we go through that, the international break. But I guess for some, we'll be thankful for our break. What Gibson 87 says, never wanted to have an international break as much as this one. I think that's fair. So I think we'll, as a podcast, we'll continue to broadcast across the next couple of weeks. All the latest Rangers news, all the latest Rangers chat, just give our views across that. So make sure you stay with us. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please make sure you subscribe. It helps us massively and means you don't miss out on any content as well. We're moving quickly towards 10,000 subscribers, which is a fantastic figure. So please help us get there and enjoy. It means you can enjoy the content at the same time. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. And until next time, goodbye.